So another emotional appeal that I keep hearing about, not as often, but is what do you think happens to bad people when they die and that aren't caught? Well, they die, and then of course the response question is, so they just get away with it? Yeah. I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, I understand it bothers you, and it's good. It's good that it bothers you that people have gotten away with a crime, particularly in regards to these where you're usually talking about murderers, rapists, child molesters, and that kind of stuff. And by the way, I know child molesters are rapists, but they're not categorized the same way, so I say that for the sake of accuracy. Yeah, I know you guys want something to happen to these people. So you feel better because you think that they'll end up going to hell and then, being tortured for all of eternity for their crimes. Now, I'm going to make this very clear so that there's no mistake from the beginning. I am not defending these people in any way, these criminals who are dying, with what I'm about to say. I'm not defending them, and I'm not looking to, make light of their plight either. But do you really think that it's fair for someone to be tortured for eternity for a finite crime? Now, I'm going to put this to you like very long-winded numbers here. There's, the first 100 years. 100 years of being tortured for every single second. Tortured from, your guys' beliefs. But there's 100 years of this. Now, this guy, let's say he's a murderer. He killed one person. He's being tortured for 100 years. Now, per your beliefs, the person that this guy killed, if he's a Christian, he's going to heaven, so he actually did him a favor. And if he's not a Christian, he's going to hell, and he's going to suffer the same as this murderer. So now what you have is, just within 100 years, just for the reference, by the way, at the 100-year mark, you have a guy who's been tortured for 100 years, and he killed somebody who is also, we're going to say he's not a Christian, and he's tortured for 100 years. Now this guy is simply a non-believer. The worst thing he ever did, was like steal a pencil from school and he, slapped a boy at the playground as a kid because he took his candy bar. Alright, otherwise this guy's been good his whole life. And I know. The Bible says none are good, but whatever. I'm saying the guy never did anything to harm anyone. He was just a nice guy. He paid his taxes. He, whatever. His only true reason for being in hell really is that he was not a Christian. So in your eyes, it is perfectly okay for the person who took a life to share the same length and type of torture as somebody who never harmed anyone. Okay, so, and now I will go to the next example. That means that you believe people like Hitler are roasting in hell next to people like, let's say Bill Gates, because I don't think I think Bill Gates is an atheist or an agnostic. The guy has donated billions of dollars, and you think that he is deserving of the same type of eternal torture as Hitler. I'm having a problem getting my brain to wrap around your guys' idea of moral good with eternal torture for something that, as I have just shown you, can be this huge skew. Now, would I like to see Hitler tortured for a while? Yeah. For all of eternity? I mean, my dislike for him rages so much that I would, instinctively say yes. But I don't think you guys realize what eternity is. But that's a different subject also. I keep expanding on these videos, and thank you guys so much for the ideas. Especially those of you from Ray Comfort's page. You guys just humor me so much and give me so much to talk about. So then that's just the first 100 years, okay? And then we can throw in, this guy who, he stole his whole life. He never hurt anybody, never did anything except steal stuff that didn't belong to him. All right, and I hate thieves. You come into my house trying to steal something, you better get out of there before my gun is in my hand, because I live in a place where I will shoot to defend my home, and I have that right, and that's okay. Now, we can also do a whole issue about guns and conservatives in the Bible, but I won't do that in this video either. And so we have that, and now let's move it to 1,000 years. 10 times as long, 100 years, and then another 100 years, and then another 100 years, and it's every second of every day. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year, after year, after year, after year, 1,000 years. And then we go into the next 1,000. And then we go into, I could just keep bumping up the numbers. It's infinity. Eternally tortured. Are you guys grasping this? And yet you guys talk about judgment as some kind of, you get happy about it. I've actually seen the flippant glee from people who, and it usually comes at the end of the arguments when they have nothing else to say. Well, you guys are going to roast in hell. I'm being a little bit snotty here. And you know what? You're going to have to face God. So you can smile all you want, and you can deny God's existence all you want, and you can just be your sinful selves, but you're going to roast in hell, and He'll take care of you. I'll pray for you, though. Bless you. Yeah. We get real sick of that. Because it's basically... a lot of people call them threats. I have a couple times. And they do. They feel like threats. But it's like... it's a non-responsible threat. Not irresponsible, non-responsible. It's kind of like, you know what? You're going to get yours. I got somebody who's going to take care of it for me. And you know what? It's just not kosher. Alright? So, yeah, you guys talk about judgment, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think you guys really realize what you're talking about when you talk about eternal. Like endless, millions and billions and trillions, quadrillions of years of torture. I bet that was torture even hearing that many times over a few seconds. And you have to be tortured with, searing pains and all kinds of nasty blackness and all kinds of crazy stuff that you guys talk about for eternity. That's sick. And that you guys delight in that is sick. And that you think that it's okay for your God to create that system is sick. But the other point that I wanted to make in this video is simply that it's just another emotional appeal. Your guys' desire doesn't change reality. And this is something I'm going to just keep telling you guys about. You guys keep talking about, I feel this way and I don't, and that's, oh God, some people even go so far as to say, I don't like the, philosophies of evolution and stuff like that. And I'm like, there are no philosophies of evolution, and you're trying to fill in what you think is supposed to be there with something else that is an unsupported mythology, one of thousands and thousands and thousands of them. I mean, for crying out loud, I could quote you any Christian rhetoric you sling at me. I could replace your title of God with the Great Green Arkle Seizure. It's you guys don't realize how arbitrary your claims are in light of all of the history we have of all the other gods and all the other mythologies. And your desire for judgment to be rendered by your God is not deserving of any recognition. I'm sorry. It doesn't deserve respect. It doesn't deserve consideration. You haven't demonstrated that there is anything that happens after death, per my other video. And, you know, I don't know what you're trying to sway me with by asking me, well, you're okay with people not being punished after they die for crimes that they never got punished for. And I mean, it's lame. And on the final point, it doesn't even matter, because even if they did get their punishment in what I believe is, you know, the only life, this reality, you would still have him, unless he became a Christian by your standards, you would still have him be tortured in hell for all of eternity because your God says so, even if he had already been punished in this life. So technically, it's better for him if he doesn't get caught. And in a weird way, and there are some atheists who might disagree with me, because this is not an atheist standard, this is just my personal belief. If you're going to be punished, the punishment needs to be relevant to the crime. I think murderers, people who have, like, first offense, cold-blooded killing, you know, I think they should be killed. I'm sorry. And I know that there are a lot who disagree with me on that. But I don't believe in the rehabilitation of murderers. And I'm talking about violent, you know, first-degree killings here. Let me make that again clear. Not like a passionate thing, not a third-degree murder. I'm talking about the act of actually deciding to go out and kill somebody, like making the plan to do it, okay? I wish you guys could understand how we atheists perceive all of your claims. And the only way we can get you to try to understand, and then you get upset when we make these comparisons, is that we can say the same things to you about things that you find ridiculous, but then you're insulted that we feel the same about yours. And I know you feel insulted because you think it's true, but we don't. So that's why, you know, if we throw at you the Great Green Narcle Seizure, that could be considered more insulting because it's not actually believed in. Fine. So that's why I don't tend to use those. I could throw any other god at you, though, and you also don't believe. So is it less insulting just because it's a god that has been believed in but is no longer believed in? See, this is where you guys need to develop your thinking, okay? Because I just cannot believe how little you guys comprehend about the shallowness of all of your arguments. So what I was about to say that some might disagree with me on is simply that, technically speaking, if you think that a person is only deserving of punishment one time for one crime, then it would actually be more fair for a criminal who got away with a crime, for a criminal to get away with a crime, because by your standards he would only be punished once as opposed to twice. And that's, again, something you guys don't seem to understand. Most people who, you always ask where morals come from, because we're talking about, you know, judging and all that stuff about after death. A lot of people get their morals from a lot of different places, but those people who claim, Christians and stuff like that, who claim that the Bible is their source of morality because God is moral, you're not saying what morality is. You're saying that because God declares this, that it is then good. That's a very poor way to set your moral example, especially because the God of the Bible is just sick. He endorses slavery and stuff, and, you know, like, treats women like terrible, terrible reproduction sources. So for you to say that the God of the Bible is moral to begin with is, well, I just flatly disagree. I mean, there's no other way to say it. If you have seen any of my videos, you know this already. But worse than that, you are claiming that morality is good because of a dictatorial author, basically. He said it, therefore it is good. You know, I mean, I know that you guys don't actually think that of anything else, but you are biased towards this God character because you think he's real and is the only God and is your God and is saving you, etc., etc. So, anyway, that's all I got for this one. I'm sorry, your desire for there to be eternal torture for people, I don't think is moral judgment at all. And it doesn't make it so. It does not actually make it the reality. So I hope that was elaborate for you guys. I hope you get where we're coming from, because I'm hoping it spreads eventually. I hope you guys really start to talk amongst yourselves and at least come up with new arguments that is not this same old stuff that doesn't even make sense for us, you know. Because you got to think, when you guys try to tell us that we believe or disbelieve certain things, that's kind of the same thing as one of us coming up to you and saying, so what 4 entities comprise the Trinity? That's not how it works. So try to get to know what an atheist is more before you ask questions about why we should think they should be judged after they're dead and stuff like that. Because you guys really aren't quite grasping it. But good luck. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.